Alright, so here is my best attempt at a walk-around explanation video as to how I was able to mount a New Holland Model 70 bale thrower onto a Massey Ferguson 124 square baler. So, a little bit about the baler. It's a square baler from 70s-ish, I think mid 70s. I have to check the manual to see exactly when it's from. And it's from a series of 120 balers. So you've got the 120, the 124, 126, and 128. So this is the 124. So it's got a little bit of a smaller pickup. And I bought this baler used from a farmer in town, and actually grew up using the same model baler with a different farmer. So it was kind of serendipity that I ended up with it. So looking at it, basically I had it. I dropped bales on the ground for a few years, then mounted a chute, but was ready to scale up and get a thrower for the thing. So I managed to find this Model 70 bale thrower up in New Hampshire, and actually got a pretty darn good deal on it. But the problem was that it was set up for a New Holland baler, and so I had to kind of figure out how to make it work with this baler, as well as having it be hydraulic drive with a hydraulic pump rather than the old school bale throwers that used to have a drive shaft that ran the length of the baler that would power the thrower. So this baler wasn't set up for that. And I'll show you in a little bit what I ended up doing with the hydraulic reservoir. So the first thing I had to do, all these brackets came with the thrower, and luckily they came with this little zigzag piece underneath that was able to show me the exact bolt pattern that the thrower would attach to. So if you've seen a lot of New Holland balers, especially the new ones, the back of the bale chamber is on an angle. So this bracket would actually come out to the back of the chamber, and then the chamber would come up at an angle about there. And so with this baler, that's not the case. It's got a flat back end. So when I was looking at it, I was kind of trying to figure out where to mount the bolts. And my two options kind of were to do it like I did, or to set the whole thing forward and have these bottom bolts line up. The problem was the bolts are a little bit lower than the bottom of the chamber. And so I was able to use one of the existing holes on the bale chamber to sort of line up. I don't remember which one it is. I think it's maybe the back one here. And then had to sort of drill more holes to mount the thing. So basically what I did is I attached this piece along with the top mounting bracket and the bottom mounting bracket of the thrower. I did all that up before I even mounted the thrower onto the thing. And so, I spent quite a bit of time drilling through to make new holes. Yep, I think that's the shared one, maybe. I have to remember. And so I ended up getting grade 10 sort of stove bolts, but I think they call them button heads. So you can see there's a fitting for an Allen wrench there to make them as smooth as possible, not to stick into the bale chamber too much. That'll allow me to be able to attach it with something and then use an impact wrench. So I managed to get that all mounted, and I had to make up this reinforcing bracket from scratch, because without it, there would be no point of contact between the lower part of this bracket and the bale chamber. The whole thing would be suspended from here, and these couple of bolts in here that have to do with the guide to allow the bale to go through when the thrower's at an angle. So I made this piece up and bolted it through here. So these bolts are not actually connected to the chamber. They're connected to this piece, which then is bolted onto the chamber. And that seemed to work pretty well. This thing doesn't have any play in it after a full season, so it seemed to work pretty well. So let's see. The next step was that I had, and I'll try to intersperse some pictures in here if I get fancy and feel like editing this. I had to line the thrower up with the two pivot points. So you've got the thrower attachment right here, as well as down on the bottom here. And those are the only 2 points where the thrower is attached to this whole bracket, and that allows it to pivot back and forth. And that went surprisingly smoothly. It just, I don't have a loader or anything, so I used my 165 with a set of 3-point hitch forks, a couple of pallets under this thing, managed to pick it up and get it close, and then use some ratchet straps to winch it in. And it went on pretty smoothly. So all in all, that's how the actual thrower got attached. But the next trick was the drive system, because we've got a hydraulic pump here that runs, well, actually a hydraulic pump in the front. There runs a hydraulic motor back here. And this baler, like I said, was not set up for a hydraulic pump. So on a New Holland baler, this is the fluid reservoir, and this thing is supposed to be right behind the hydraulic pump here. The suction hose is only supposed to be about 6 inches long or so, and it's supposed to have the big reservoir right there. But that's on a New Holland baler. You look at this thing and there's nowhere near enough space. So what I decided to do was mount the hydraulic pump in front because it has to run off the belt for the flywheel. And I mounted the hydraulic reservoir behind the twine box here, which meant getting about a 10-foot piece of suction hose to run down underneath and make sure it stays the hell out of the way of everything. So it runs down through there. I've also got the return hose, or not the return hose, the hose that's sent to the hydraulic motor, piggybacked off that same thing, so I was just able to clamp it all together. And then, amazingly, see, I can't even remember, I think I did drill all new holes here, but this bracket, I've used a shitload of washers in there to space it out, but this bracket was able to clamp on the side here and bolt through after drilling some holes and be really flush and square or plumb enough. And this flywheel is able to get the right size belt after a little bit of trial and error, because one thing that's different about Massey balers is they've got a bigger flywheel than a lot of the newer New Holland ones, which actually I think results in the thrower running a little bit too fast, because you know you've got the circumference of the flywheel being bigger, but you've got the same size drive pulley on the pump. So that means for every rotation of this, you get more rotations of that, which I think is making the pump go a little bit too fast. And, you know, I worry about things wearing out or building up too much pressure. So, as a side note, I think my next step might be to get the next size up pulley here to better match the speed of this, because we've got a whole bunch of different speeds on the thrower. I don't know if you can see the 1 through 6. But 6 will pretty clear send it over the back of the wagon, which is not necessary. So I don't need it to be going that fast. So I managed to mount this up through some trial and error, get the right size belt to fit this, and you know, I was just able to adjust the tension in the idler. Actually, I had 2 different belts I was playing around with, and I ended up going with the bigger one because the small one was barely any tension on this, and there weren't that many threads to. Actually, no, you know what? I think this is actually the smaller one. Yep, the bigger one. I think I had to tighten it so much that the idler went way down to here, and there was barely any space. One other thing I had to do, which I wasn't super thrilled about, this is the lever for the baler to go from transport position, which it's in now, to operating position for that hole. And this got right in the way of the bottom of the piece that controls the tension of the idler. So I had to take a Sawzall and cut this corner off. So it's a little bit more difficult to get in here, but actually I find you can really just reach in here with your hand and pull it just as easy as you could before. So there's that. So that after all that mounted up, I was able to run the hoses. Got the suction hose as well as the, I don't know, send hose, for lack of a better term, which runs up this way, as I showed you, comes under here. I managed to have the hose that goes to the hydraulic pump come along the support, come up top here, which I actually want to change its placement slightly. It does get in the way of this crank for adjusting the bale tension. But it runs up to the thrower and ran it perfectly. I was kind of astounded at how easily it ran. And then the last, let's see, two more things. One was that here's the cylinder to control the direction that the thrower's pointing, because you can pivot it about 30 degrees each direction to be able to take corners and hopefully not miss the wagon. And so basically I just found the midpoint on the cylinder by hooking it up to the tractor and just extending it, retracting it, measuring each, and then finding what the middle point was. And then attaching it here, lining it up here, finding where the spot ought to be, drilling a couple holes, and bolting it on. And then ran my auxiliary hydraulics up to the front where they can hook up to the tractor. We've also got a speed control wire, so you know that's just part of the baler. So I had to wire it up on my tractor, which actually I can show you real quick. Just got one of these plugs, got another plug that attaches to the speed controller on the baler, ran a positive wire, and literally just grounded it by drilling a screw through the fender. So that worked pretty well too. And then the last thing I had to do was figure out the hitch. So this baler came with a hitch. And there's the hitch bracket. It's not like some of the newer balers where the hitch will actually go all the way through and attach to the axle. I wish it would. And one thing that I definitely am a little paranoid about is the amount of stress I put on the bale chamber. But this stuff's, it's thick metal, and it's, you know, it's got lots of 90-degree reinforcement on it. So here's the baler bracket, the hitch bracket, but it ended right here, and the hitch only came out to about here, which was nowhere near far enough for the new length of the thrower. So I got a local shop by the name of OSCO Incorporated, which are some great people, to add an get a piece of pipe and make an extension piece, which I'm pretty sure I guessed at like 3 feet, and it ended up being perfect. At least for these two wagons that I have, which their tongues are a little shorter. So if you've got longer tongues on your wagons, you probably don't need a 3-foot extension on it. But you know, I try not to put too much side-to-side pressure on because it is such a long tongue. There's a little bit of wiggle, but that's really just from where the pins are that hold it. But pulling strength, it's plenty good, and there's no down pressure. You've got a, you know, two axle wagon. Yeah, so the one other thing I've run into though is that the thrower has really added a lot of weight to the back, because the Massey throwers that could be bought for this baler had way less metal on them. You know, this has all kinds of shields, it's much more rugged. It is a number 70 thrower as opposed to a 72. You see 72s everywhere. 70s you don't quite see as much. They're a little smaller. Actually, I kind of like it though. The 70 has this vertical piece for the spring tension, whereas the 72 has it on an angle like that. And actually I find this allows a broken bale to get out much easier. I think when you've got the spring tension piece right there, the broken hay will come out, kind of hit it and jam. So I've been really happy with that. But other than that, you know, I'm not too well versed in what the difference between a 70 and a 72 is, because this seems pretty beefy to me for it to be the economy model. But it definitely adds a lot of weight to the back of the baler. And something I've thought about is trying to fabricate, I think New Holland balers, I don't think the Masseys have them, but you can get an axle relocation bracket and actually move this wheel back about 6 inches to change the point of balance. Because as it is right now, when you're not baling with a wagon, if you're baling onto the ground, and or if you're not moving, this baler will rock quite a bit, and that's something that concerns me a little as far as you know, stress to the frame and certain points like where the hitch attaches to the baler. But I mean, you can literally just pick up the front of this baler, and it's actually made it quite handy to go from operating the field position if you don't have a tractor attached. But it, you know, with a wagon on there and moving forward, it really doesn't rock too much. One thing I have done is added spacers to the drawbar pin so that there's less slop, as well as trying to tighten up the drawbar itself on the tractor. Piece of metal in there to try to limit the amount of up and down slop, just to stop bouncing from happening. But all in all, this thing has been wonderful. It weeps a little bit of hydraulic oil every time I use it out of the connections to the reservoir. I just blew it off with an air compressor, but it was pretty caked down there. You can see some of the oozing, and I don't know whether that's just because I'm using too long of a suction hose, or I don't quite have something tight enough, even though I've double checked the tightness of everything, or whether it could be a matter of too much heat and pressure building up because of the hydraulic pump spinning too fast, as I mentioned, because the flywheel is bigger. So I'm wondering if maybe it's a pipe thing, but if I do change the size of that pulley and make the hydraulic pump spin slower, maybe it'll solve that problem. The other thing I've done too is just operated this thing at a little less than 540 when I'm not in a rush, because I just feel like that's a little easier on everything. So there you have it. Mounting a New Holland 70 bale thrower onto a Massey 124 baler. And you know, I know this is a pretty specific matchup, but I think there's enough takeaway points here that it can be extrapolated to different throwers and different balers. And I just sort of make this video as encouragement to people that are thinking about doing it, because when I was looking for a thrower for this thing, all the dealers, everybody I talked to just rolled their eyes and said, "You're nuts, find a different baler with a thrower on it." And I'm glad I didn't listen to him. So I got this thrower for, I think, $600, which is nuts. Hardly used. whoever was selling it took it off their baler because they didn't want to use it for some reason, which is beyond me. New, I think they're like 6 or 8 or something nuts like that. 6 or 8,000, that is. So, you know, I mean, I don't know what the odds are of finding another steel like that, but they're out there. And it sure improved efficiency this year. Made 2,800 bales with far less fuss and calling on family and friends every baling day. So, there you have it. It's my plug for a thrower. Feel free to message me if you have any questions about all this.